Alright guys, welcome back to another reaction video. Today we are back with some more RWBY Ice Queendom. We're looking at episode 5 today, titled Awaken in a Dream. So we are once again back with some more original content from Ice Queendom. Last episode was the start to the actual storyline and I really enjoyed it. It was really good world building. It was a bit slow, but we did get a little action bit at the end, which was something I wasn't expecting. And while it wasn't like, you know, big detail quality, it still was pretty hyped. You know, getting to see Wiess and RWBY was honestly something I didn't know that I wanted. But actually getting to see it with the music and just the pacing of that scene and just the direction as well, like it was just really good and I really enjoyed it. Just the detail that this series has, like even though like these are different writers, you can tell that they did their homework and they use their resources, like, you know, the actual original writers of RWBY to their advantage, and so far I'm really enjoying it. So last time we got to see RWBY enter this world and we got to see a little bit about it. You know, we got to see how this pseudo atlas operated with, you know, it just belonging to humans, which is something I didn't listen to I didn't see when I first watched it. But I asked, like, I wonder where all the faunus are, but it turns out there are no faunus in this city. In fact, they're all outside the city. They're all painted as evil and corrupt and monsters, and we know that there's a Blake copy out there among them causing trouble, wreaking havoc and stuff like that. We got to see a lot of what Wiess thinks of the world just through that first episode, and that was just with RWBY. I suspect that in this episode, we're going to be seeing Blake and Yang enter this world, which will be pretty exciting. For Blake, there's a lot to expect and a lot to, like, you know, have her look at herself and just be like, what the hell is going on? What am I dressed as? What is this? Like, these are actual claws. What's going on? No doubt she'll be offended by what's going on. And hopefully we'll get that one-on-one with Wiess and we'll get that confrontation. For Yang, she looks badass, so I can't really see her complaining that much. But I wonder if we're going to be getting anything with how Wiess sees Yang, especially since Yang has been sort of in the background compared to the other three girls. But yeah, I'm excited to get into episode 5. I don't want to waste any more time. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys end up enjoying this video, then you can like the video, comment, subscribe. All those things really help me out. And sharing as well, sharing with any RWBY fans that want to see any reactions. If you guys could share my reaction to them, that would be much appreciated. And if you guys have already done so, then thank you. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get on with the actual video. We also got to see Team Juniper in the dream world, but I wonder if they're gonna stop meowing and actually help. Like, do they actually have any sense of urgency, or are they just gonna be in that cage for the whole rest of the series? Oh, this is the real world. Oh, it's RWBY. Okay, so it's clear that she needs oh, okay, so things are actually getting really bad. What are they gonna do? I already said that I hope Xion gets to be in the dream world too. Oh! Oh, they brought her back. Oh, good. So definitely if you die in the dream, you die in real life. I wonder, so now the clone is back in charge of the body. I wonder where the clone is. This guy's everywhere. Shut up, Dad. Right, it was just a reconnaissance mission. Nobody was expecting her to actually beat Wiess. Yeah. Of course, the factories would be at the outermost because she doesn't really know much about them. Yang, please. That's funny. This is her shadow self, right? Like Persona 5? Negative Wiess.
ちょっと私のオーラが回復するまでに誰が夢の中へ入るか決めてください。
Oh, clever. Okay.
私も大勢だとすぐに見つかっちゃうかも。
Really? I mean, we gotta all go in at once, let's be honest.
ルビーだけの責任じゃないし、一人で叶わなかったんだからチームで戦うのが。
I agree with Yang.
私たちを夢の中のワイスに合わせたくないのね。
Oh, I see. I mean, we already saw Wiess at her worst, so it's like not like this is gonna taint their view on Wiess.
ずっと私も考えてた。そしてワイスと同じように気にしないと決めたの。
Still don't like that line. I don't think anything's gonna make me like that line. Oh, look who it is. Speaking of who, I was wondering if these guys were gonna do anything. Yeah, this one is real serious. What? Don't say that. Bit of a self-sacrificing kind of guy, huh? Oh, well, yeah, we kind of know that. So, who's going? Okay, everybody's going, okay. Then let's do this thing. I mean, like, they all have to go in. It's obvious, like, one person can't handle all of this on their own. But are they all going to be separated? We at least kind of know where Blake is going to be, but, like, Yang is just going to be in the middle of the snow. So, are they together? Oh, this looks beautiful, by the way. I love the visuals here are just so great. There's Blake. Okay, she's by herself. One of her cat ears is sticking out. Then after that, she has the bow. Oh, okay, they're not that far at all. Right. Okay, so I want to see everybody else's weapon. Like, they should probably, you know, get like, you know, they should see what their weapons look like before they get into an actual fight. Jesus Christ. Maybe it's a little different. I guess it is a dream, right? Maybe it's enhanced. Yo, that's disrespectful. So Wiess at least like respects Yang and Blake's fighting abilities, but not Ruby's. Thank you, Yang. At least until Sean gets their aura back. Oh, sick. Let's go. So far, Blake hasn't had much of a reaction to being like, I don't think she is part beast. I think she's just wearing like mittens, you know? It's the train again? Oh. Nope, that's the White Fang. So it's the same thing happening again. So does it just happen over and over again? At least the markers get to stay, so you don't have to reuse them. Great, I love it. I love the preparation. Uh-oh. These things are going to be on guard after what happened with Ruby. Ooh. Blake has some things to say about him. That was an interesting look that we got from Blake. Oh. I was about to ask, is the same thing happening again? But this time Wiess was like, don't touch my hair. Oh wait, no, this is like the dialogue all over again. Ooh, that's a good look for Wiess. Oh my god. Yeah, this is the same dialogue. Yep. Monitor her very closely. What about Root? So now Yang is involved. Master Young's gaze has nothing. Ooh, okay. They should both still reside quietly in the tower. What tower? Big Nicholas. So it is kind of different. Maybe because Yang is here now. What the heck? Coffin? This is super dangerous for oh. Okay. That kind of looks like Willow. But yeah, I was gonna say this is super dangerous for Blake because she's a faunus. Hey! Big Nicholas! The sillies are all over the place. There are no sillies there. Oh my god. Wait a minute, what? Why is she in the sillies, first of all? Second of all, this is... Oh my god. She's singing Mirror, Mirror? And she looks so beautiful doing it. Oh my god. Yo, is it the whole song? Impromptu music video? Backup dancers? Ruby, turn off your phone. That's so rude. Alright then. I didn't know. Is that a restaurant? I didn't know Pura would be with the sillies. Oh? What is that? Right. The entrance to what? Oh, we gotta get through these things first. I'm so glad somebody's here to, like, be responsible with these coins. We have power, we don't need to use those coins all the time. Marker. That's what happens when your whole team is with you. Let's go. Oh, it's a coffin for the chess piece. There she goes. Tell me anything, not everything, just tell me anything. Big Nicholas. Oh, okay, I thought she was here already. Hmm? Okay, the shadow people are gonna fight? Yeah, it looks like you guys are supposed to be locked up maybe because you tried to escape? Blake is not allowed in. Yang is like... Is Yang trying to like protect Ruby from racism? Oh. So Blake is by herself. Oh man. So we're going to the tower now. Okay. Again. Oh, is this... This is different. Sleepy? Yep. It's a dream! You had some weird stuff in your dreams before, come on. Oh, it's kind of like the... It has the bunk beds. Except hers. Hers looks like... I'm guessing the top one is... Ruby's, right? Ew. Ruby's bed is kind of weird. Yeah. Oh, so maybe we have to get the one from her office too. The red one and the white one. Interesting. Oh, okay, she just broke in. Okay. What a horrible guard. Why would you have Sleepy be a guard? Oh, we're in the manor. That's the statue that crashes into the hound. But except the statues look a little bit different. Jesus Christ, that chess piece is so huge. What the heck? Where are we? Oh. Damn. Oh no, next episode's gonna be tense. It's so hard. Maybe it's because like the first like 3 episodes were together, so we got this longer episode. But like I'm just like, they're too short. These episodes are too short, which is ridiculous because these are like some of the longest episodes RWBY has ever gotten. I'm never satisfied. Maybe that's the reason why. But yeah, this was a really good episode. Really great. Like, I loved a lot of the character dynamics that we got going on with Yang, Blake, and RWBY. Some funnies here and there. Some sillies, if you will. In fact, we actually got a beautiful singing silly in this episode, which is something I wasn't expecting. But let's go over what we got and just sort of like break down as best as we can. So the episode starts with RWBY returning back to the real world, and something that I really liked in this scene was just the little things, I guess, the little dynamics, like RWBY wanting to sort of protect Yang and Blake from this new version of Wiess, because she actually really does think, which I mean, like, it's shown here, that this Wiess is definitely a lot harsher, a lot colder, which is saying something, because even Yang is like, sounds like regular Wiess to me, but we can like see that this Wiess is a lot less, like a lot more just harsher, you know. And something that I really like, once again, the character dynamics. You know, we have Blake telling Yang to be like, all right, come on, it's clear that RWBY is like, you know, kind of affected by this. And then you have Yang being protected of RWBY, like, so, and like in a way, like Blake and Yang are sort of protecting RWBY, but in their own way, if that makes sense. Like when Yang isn't 100% aware that things are a bit sensitive, that's when Blake is like, Yang, wait just a second. And then after that, we have Yang, of course, wanting to just be there with RWBY, be in the nightmare, help her out as best as she can. I really like that dynamic. And then, of course, you have RWBY trying to protect these two from this fake Wiess. So it's just that like little touches that they have there with the dialogue that I really like. And like it continues throughout the episode. Just like little things, once again, in the dialogue, you know, that just makes these three synchronize in a way. Like I never felt like there was dialogue that made me go like, at least I don't remember any dialogue that made me go like, okay, that's a bit weird, but okay. Like it just definitely felt very concise, and like they're consistent. And something else that I really like, I like the detail of, is Yang being that older sister and feeling the need to protect RWBY from like the topic of racism, which I say I really like, but like obviously I think RWBY, and like, you know, obviously she's like 16, 15. She should know that racism exists. But like Yang's like sort of instinct to be like, no, it's probably just Wiess not being 100% there or whatever. You know, it has nothing to do with the fact that Blake is a faunus or anything like that. Something that I've noticed definitely is that Yang is definitely aware of the faunus racism in this version of RWBY, and she's definitely a lot more like, not involved, but like she's aware of it. She fights against it to the best of her abilities in the moment. Like, you know, she calls Wiess out when she feels the need to, and like right away she knew that the reason why Blake isn't a part of this society is because Weiss's view on faunus. It's why she tried to protect RWBY from that sort of information. Whether or not RWBY will eventually realize this, I'm not sure. But it's just a nice touch, and it's consistent with Yang's character in Ice Queendom. So like we got a little bit more from Xion as well, talking about this negative Wiess, which I loved how Yang was like, negative Wiess. I don't think there was ever a positive Wiess. I thought that was really funny. Like I said, a lot of good humor in this episode. But yeah, this is like sort of a heightened version of Wiess. This is all of her bigotry and just self-importance all rolled up in her, like pride and her ambitions, all, you know, heightened, and just the worst versions of themselves. And also, if you notice, she doesn't have a scar as well, which is really interesting, because I feel like the scar is a big symbol of just her constant fight against her father and having to prove herself. And we see that this Wiess also has to do the same thing, but she never had to get that scar. Of course, she never, you know, tried to get into Beacon, but it's just interesting how that scar, which is such an important symbol of, you know, her relationship with her father, isn't a part of this Wiess. Team RWBY end up going to the Nightmare Realm, and, you know, Team Juniper makes a little bit of an appearance, but obviously they didn't go into the dream. There wasn't much for them to do other than just be like, hey, is Wiess okay? Like, there's not really much for them to do here. I talked about how whether or not they'd be important, like, you know, they'd help with the fight against this nightmare. I don't really know how else because like we know that if too many people go into the dream, it ends up being bad. But I wonder if they're going to play more of a role later on in the future regardless. Like maybe like in the end fight, Xion's gonna be like, all right, everybody just get into the nightmare. It doesn't matter anymore. We're just trying to get, we're trying to defeat that nightmare. It doesn't matter, you know, the cover is blown. Just fight, fight, fight. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I honestly don't see the need for it to happen. I think just having it be Team RWBY is enough. But it's just interesting that they arrived here. At the most, maybe the nightmare versions will stand and rise up against the oppression and fight back. But as for our actual Team Juniper, I don't know if that's gonna happen exactly. Something that was interesting to note was the, you know, John being like, man, I wish it was me inside that nightmare again rather than Wiess, which, you know, logically it makes sense because, you know, John's is easier to face than Wiess's, but like it kind of just like highlights that sort of like self-sacrifice thing that John has going on, which I don't know if that's going to lead to something in the future or if this was just sort of like a callback or a call forward to, like, I don't know, volume 5 when he was like, my life doesn't matter as long as I can protect them, you know, when he was fighting Cinder. But yeah, that was just something to note. I don't know if they're going to play a bigger role later on. But yeah, we entered a dream. The visuals, by the way, are just as great. Like, I loved the look of the forest, the snow. I love snow environments. So this just looked beautiful and fairy tale like to me, which fits RWBY. So everybody arrives in the nightmare, and like I said, I love the dialogue between all of them. It's very like quick and it's very like character filled, I guess, if that's the right word for it. We got to see a little bit of upgrades between Blake and Yang, and I said that like that's probably because while Wiess probably has her negative opinions on Blake, and, you know, I don't know how she feels about Yang, she definitely doesn't underestimate them, and in fact, you know, she recognizes their skill as opposed to RWBY, where it's sort of just like ass backwards nonsense going on. So like we have this like magical rope with Blake, and then we have this super strength with Yang, and, you know, just to make it a little bit more anime, you know, over the topness. And it also speaks to the fact that Wiess doesn't really respect RWBY's skills that much, not compared to Yang and Blake's. So yeah, like I said, great teamwork here. Great use of the coins. I like how like Yang and Blake were like, all right, let's use these things wisely. There are more of us now, so we don't have to use these coins as much. It's just really good teamwork, and I love to see it. Blake didn't have much of a reaction. Well, she did have a reaction later on, but she didn't have much of a reaction to the train scene that happened in front of her. Neither did she have the reaction to her looks that much. Like, she was like, oh, so this is how Wiess sees me. We know that she apparently doesn't care anymore, which take it as you will. I really just don't like that line of the "I don't care," especially since racism is involved. Like, you should care, and it's more than that. Like, Wiess did say those things, so to just end it with "I don't care" just kind of hits me the wrong way. Like, she said those things about the Fawn, and she said those things about the White Fang, she said those things about Sun, and sort of just mixing them all together into one thing, when that's just not the case. And just so, like, I don't care, I feel like it's just ugh. And Blake saying that too, like, Wiess said all of these things and she still hasn't apologized. Something that I hope happens is that Wiess apologizes. But to have Wiess not apologize and have the Blake go like, I don't care, I don't know if that's true. Maybe that she's lying to herself and she's just like, I'm trying, let's just save Wiess. Maybe she's in that mindset, like, you know, I'm not gonna add baggage to this mission, let's just save Wiess, maybe we'll deal with it later, or maybe I'll just bottle it up. But like, I really hope it's not as simple as Blake just seemingly not caring and wanting friendship to prevail. Like, I want her to still be upset with Wiess. I want her to want that apology, you know, because it's more than just Wiess saying some hurtful words. Like, it runs deeper than that. But yeah, they enter the city, and this is when Blake sees Jacques, and she has a pretty big reaction to it. Like, in the show, the most I feel like we got was, of course, her talking about the Shinny Dust Company in Volume 1, but also her, like, obviously not caring much about Jacques being arrested in Volume 7. But besides that, we haven't gotten that much. Here, though, you can see her, like, you know, it was the classic anime shadowy eyes thing, when a character is, like, really upset or trying to hide something. And here I think it's both, that she's really upset, but she's trying to hide it. But when she saw Jacques, there was a clear hatred, a clear disdain for him. I wonder if we're going to be seeing more than that. We're going to be getting a lot of fun and stuff in the next episode, I feel like. But there's definitely something there, a lot more than what we got in the original. We might be getting a little bit more of how Blake feels about Jacques in this series, which I really like. But yeah, there's something there that we're going to have to definitely unpack. We also got the scene with back in Weiss's office, and a lot of it like just plays out how it usually does, with some differences with Yang and RWBY. I don't know if it's because Yang was, you know, entered the dream, that's why now she's a part of the conversation, or if Yang has always been a part of the conversation, but just in the last episode Wiess didn't say anything about her. But we know that she interacted with RWBY in the past, and you know, that was something her father didn't like. It could be one of the reasons why she was so hateful towards RWBY, because she was trying to prove a point to her father that RWBY doesn't mean anything to her. But Yang is now in the picture, and apparently RWBY and Yang are supposed to be trapped in the tower because they tried to escape. I once again don't know much of the relationship that we're going to be getting between Yang and Wiess. Yang is not even a part of the ending, so I don't know if we're ever going to be getting anything like a part 2 to their conversation that they had in episode 3. But something else that we noticed was the chess piece, which was in the coffin. So I'm guessing that RWBY is going to have to break this this chess piece out of this glass apple, which I love, by the way, and you know, kind of unite her piece, her red piece, with this piece. I thought that this was a white piece, but it looks like a brown piece. It could just be the coloring, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a white piece and then RWBY has the red piece. You know, there's definitely a clear RWBY Wiess. You know, RWBY and Weiss's relationship is a big part of this series. Something beautiful that we got was the Pyrrha singing the Mirror Mirror on the Wall, or just Mirror Mirror. That was great. We actually got, I don't know if it was the whole song, but we got a big part of the song at least. And the animation, the lighting, it was all just really good. The artwork, Pyrrha was done beautifully here, but she's still in jail for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because she's singing and she's not supposed to sing, but I'm surprised that she's in jail considering that Wiess has such a high opinion of her. I thought, because there was a promo, right? And wasn't she singing for Wiess on a stage? So I don't know if like she's sort of like a slave, a singing slave or something, and like she only gets out to sing for Wiess. But this was a really good scene. Really great. We also got a little bit of the like a Wiess sort of like part of it, like where Wiess was looking at Wiess, which I thought was really good. The singer was amazing. I don't know if it was Pyrrha's voice actress that was singing, or if it was just somebody else, like similar to how Wiess, you know, has one voice actress, but then after that, when she sings, she has a completely different voice. Like it's because it's Casey singing, but it was done really well, really well, and I really enjoyed it. Team Juniper was also there. The rest of Team Juniper was there as well, behind like or in front of a restaurant, it looked like. I don't know, there's like a bunch of tables and like headlights and stuff, so I don't know what that was, but they were there too and they were waving. It was weird. So Team RWBY eventually end up in the Schnee Manor, and you know, Yang is the one that decides to stay, and the episode ends with Blake and RWBY confronting Wiess once again, and Wiess being like, this is no place for the Faunus, and like getting ready to fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a fight, hopefully a good fight, in the, like, when I say good fight, I mean like a longer fight, and maybe like a little bit more detailed too. Last episode's fight was really good, but it was short, and obviously it wasn't as detailed and wasn't as, you know, pristine as some of the other fights, like the RWBY versus Grunt fight, or the RWBY versus Team RWBY versus the Nevermore fight. Hopefully we get a fight like that in the next episode. I don't know, but it looks like we're going to be getting some pretty intense stuff. Maybe some conversations about the Faunus, Weiss's view on the Faunus, Blake's view on Weiss's view on the Faunus. Like it looks like we're going to be getting some more with that. Like maybe Blake saying like I don't care either was a lie, and we're going to be getting that truth in this episode. Yang tried to protect RWBY from the whole Faunus bigotry thing, but I mean, she's going to be seeing it firsthand in this episode. And we know that RWBY knows about racism, because in the last episode she was like, was all that stuff you were talking about with Blake a lie? But I think in the next episode we're going to be seeing RWBY's going to be seeing just how bigoted Weiss's views really are, especially since this is going to be an enhanced Wiess as far as her bigotry and her hatred or negativity. But yeah, really enjoyed this episode, had a lot of fun. Hopefully I can get this thing out as soon as possible. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys will subscribe so you guys can stick around for more RWBY stuff. Tell me what you guys thought about the episode down in the comment section down below. Tell me what you guys thought about my reaction, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, bye.